Shalom, Most High in Christ bless. I'm Brother Chizkaya to my left,
Brother Laharoy,
and we are back at it again, brothers and sisters, with another Sunday Heat topic. Today's topic will be Righteous Conduct Part 2. I'm pretty sure you all remember the first one that I did. If not, definitely go back through our videos and you'll see it there, so you can watch it for reference, just so you have an idea of where we're heading with this topic here today. All right, so as customary, let's start off with the book of Joshua 1 and 8. We are reading from the KJV 1611, and yes, please follow along. Joshua 1 and 8.
I got you, bro. Shalom. The book of Joshua, chapter 1, verse 8. This book of the law shall not depart out of thy mouth, but thou shalt meditate therein day and night, that thou mayest observe to do according to all that is written therein. For then thou shalt make thy way prosperous, and then thou shalt have good success.
So obviously, brothers and sisters, we understand that it really is important for us to make sure that we're reading our scriptures, making sure that we're studying our scriptures, and actually trying to apply the things that we're learning and that we're reading on a daily basis. Because each and everything that you may see here in black and white, it was put here with purpose of helping us to navigate, purpose of aiding us in trying to be successful and prosperous during the time that we are spending here in captivity. Yes, we are being punished as of right now for the things that we have done, the things that we're lacking in doing. However, the Most High still has mercy to extend towards us, but we only can attain that mercy if we actually seek out his words for us and actually try to apply it. So let's lead into the next thing, the book of 1 Timothy chapter 3, and let's start at verse 1.
The book of 1 Timothy chapter 3, verse 1. This is a true saying. If a man desire the office of a bishop, he desireth a good work. A bishop then must be blameless, the husband of one wife, vigilant, sober, of good behavior, given to hospitality, apt to teach.
So as we are discussing righteous conduct, correct? We understand that there are certain qualities that we have to exhibit. There's a certain behavior that we have to make sure that we are consistently aligning ourselves with and allowing to be seen by our brothers and sisters within this truth. Because we already know that you can know a person by their fruit. All right. So this is targeting more of the individuals who may want that position of leadership per se, right? The person may try to be, leader of a congregation, may want to be a bishop of the congregation. In order to do so, these are the actual qualifications for you to actually be a righteous bishop. You have to be blameless, which means when you are actually out here, you're teaching others, all right? You cannot be a hypocrite. Whatever you're teaching other people to do, according to the scriptures, of course, not according to your mind, all right, you actually have to be following it, and people have to be able to see that, all right? Whatever you speak, that has to be a reflection of how you're actually living your life, all right? The husband of one wife. So that will cut anything that brothers may discuss as far as having multiple wives, is concerned, all right? You have to have one wife, all right? You're not supposed to be out here having this one, having that one, and obviously moving in lust rather than trying to move in righteousness, okay? You have to be vigilant, sober, all right? So no, you're not going to find these people who are the leaders who are incapacitated, right? You're not going to find them being people who are drunk or emotional, all right? Because that's not being sober-minded. When you're sober, you have stability, you have balance, you have the ability to think things through and properly analyze and, deduce situations. You can't do that if you are blinded or you're, as I said before, you're full of different things that would take your mind out of being stable, all right? Of good behavior, given to hospitality, apt to teach. Verse 3, keep reading.
Verse 3. Not given to wine,
Right.
no striker,
Mm-hmm.
not greedy of filthy lucre,
Right.
but patient,
Mm-hmm.
not a brawler, not covetous.
So no, this type of person is not going to be the one who's always looking at something, trying to, and just desiring it in a way that would just, as the scripture says, appear to be covetous. All right, you're not a brawler. You're not out here always trying to fight. You're not trying to be physical with people. All right, not giving the filthy lucre. Patient. There's a lot of leaders in Israel who are not patient. Okay, you have to understand something as being the person who is leading a flock, right? You have people who are looking to you. They are truly trying to gain knowledge. They are truly trying to have have a point of contact as far as trying to figure out how to navigate. Obviously, we have the scriptures, but it's also important to have someone who's also following, and they are someone who is worth following, someone who can get advice from. All right. So these are going to be the things that you have to make sure that you are not doing if leadership is something that you actually want to take on. Okay. Otherwise, the Most High is going to hold you responsible for this. Not given to wine, no striker, not greedy. Okay. Read.
Verse 4. One that ruleth well his own house, having his children in subjection,
right,
with all gravity.
You cannot be a leader in Israel if your house is not in order. You cannot be a leader in Israel if your wife is in pants, if your wife doesn't want to keep the commandments, your children don't want to keep the commandments, okay? You're not ruling, you're not doing what you're supposed to do. So no, that would not make you a candidate for this position. We're really trying to get you to understand, brothers and sisters, that with each and everything that we may try to do, even when it comes down to applying for a job, right? There's certain qualifications, there's certain things that you have to adhere to. The Most High God is no different. Taking up the responsibility to lead others is a very important task, and it's something that you can't just take lightly. We have a lot of these self-proclaimed elders in Israel now, and they're doing that, or they're allowing themselves to be called these elders, but they're not even fully living it out the way that they're supposed to. So in actuality, instead of being a perfect example, they're not being that at all, and they're leading people astray. You cannot have that. Continue, bro.
Verse 5. For if a man know not how to rule his own house, how shall he take care of the church of God?
Right. Keep going.
Not a novice, lest being lifted up with pride, he fall into the condemnation of the devil.
And what is something that we see in Israel all the time? Brothers catching pride, right?
Pride, contention, and strife on an unprecedented scale.
Right. Can't tell them nothing. They think that everything that they're doing is correct. All right. And it's like some kind of way they become above the law. And no one is above the law. We're all supposed to humble ourselves to the law, fear the law. Okay. But these are the things that the devil will use to try and attack you. All right. Keep reading.
Verse 7. Moreover, he must have a good report of them which are without, lest he fall into reproach and the snare of the devil.
Exactly. Keep going.
Likewise, must the deacons be grave, not double-tongued, not given to much wine, not greedy of filthy lucre,
right,
holding the mystery of the faith in a pure conscience.
That is really important, brothers and sisters. You see it here again, not given to much wine. We already know that a lot of our people, one of our things that we like to do is we like to drink, right? We like to feel good sometimes. But when you're taking up the position of leadership, all right, there are just certain things that you cannot do. There cannot be an excess in drinking. There cannot be an excess in being covetous. Can't be an excess in any of these things that have been listed here, because if it is present, these are all things that Satan will use to destroy you and to destroy your ministry. He will use these things to discredit you. And now you are going to have to live up to that. You're gonna have to answer to that when the Most High God calls upon you. You don't want to be a false prophet. You don't want to be a false leader. You don't want to be a hypocritical leader. So these are just a few things that you have to take into consideration. And whether you're going to be participating in leadership or not, these are still really good ways or qualifications that you should, try to compare yourself with to make sure that you stay in righteousness. Because all this right here is doing is going to make sure that you stay in righteousness. It's not going to allow you to fall. All right. Do you have anything you want to add?
If you wouldn't mind,
Sure.
I would love to bring out Psalms 101, verses 2 and 6.
Sure thing. Go ahead. Psalms
101, verses 2 and 6. Obviously, Psalms 101 is extremely short. So read the whole thing. It's only 8 verses, but I'm just going to read 2 and 6. Verse 2. I will behave myself wisely in a perfect way. Oh, when wilt thou come unto me? Because for no man knoweth the day of the Lord.
Absolutely.
I will walk within my house with a perfect heart. Just like the qualification for a deacon just said, of a pure conscience, a pure heart. We have to, just like Proverbs 24:9 tells us, the thought of sin is foolishness. We have to keep our mindsets on righteousness, on the law, on the fear of the Lord and his son, on the love of our brothers, and the rebuking and correction in ourselves and within our communities. Verse 6, this is the Lord speaking. Mine eyes shall be upon the faithful of the land, that they may dwell with me. He that walketh in a perfect way, he shall serve me. All of us out here are trying to serve the Lord, right?
Absolutely.
We're not doing this for no reason. We're doing this to serve the Lord.
We have purpose.
Right. That is our purpose. But the Lord is telling us, just like he said for the qualifications of a bishop and for the deacon, you can't have blemishes. If you're going to serve the Lord, you're going to come to him perfect, with a perfect mind. You're not going to have blemishes.
Right.
You have to be perfect, and it is possible. Don't let these filthy lucre preachers tell you otherwise.
Absolutely. Because, let's think about it for a second. Who is the ultimate bishop? Christ. All right. And what did Christ partake in any of these things? No. So if Christ isn't doing it, then we have to make sure that if we're going to be aspiring to be like Christ, which we all should be doing, that we are willing, we are willing to actually follow with what the scriptures is telling us on how we're supposed to be. We are a special people. We are supposed to be a royal priesthood. We see that in 1 Peter 2:9. Why don't we act like it? Why is it not important enough for us to do so? We are supposed to behave and treat one another as kings and queens, as God's chosen, as a people above all other people on the face of the earth. Why should we treat each other like dogs? Why should we try to hurt one another, try to bring one another down? Why do we allow ourselves to fit the narrative of crabs in a bucket? That is not righteous conduct, because that is not what God put down for us to be. We're supposed to lift one another up, aren't we?
Right.
Okay, so let's move on, because another thing too, we just touched on it a little bit, but pride is it's a cancer in Israel. Too many people get pride on them. Give me the book of Ecclesiastes 7 and 8.
The book of Ecclesiastes, chapter 7, verse 8. Better is the end of a thing than the beginning thereof. And the patient in spirit is better than the proud in spirit.
Right. Patience. There it is again, brothers and sisters. We have to be willing to wait more on the Lord than waiting on other things, waiting on ourselves. Growing impatient in this truth is a really big sign that you're falling out of it, because now it's gotten to a point where it's almost like you don't have the faith that you're supposed to have anymore, because we already know that anything that we may need, desire, the Most High will give it to us, but he's going to do it within his time. If you are no longer patient enough, no longer have that faith in God enough to the point where you can actually sit down and do that without having a problem, and now you feel like you have to try and make moves on your own, or you have to do things in a rash manner, you're falling out of this truth. You have to reevaluate and you have to fix it. Because anytime we do anything without patience, nothing good ever comes after it.
Ain't that true?
You know what I'm saying? Like, I mean, that's just being real. Okay? So let's take our time and let's really put our faith in God and be patient. It's okay. Don't get prideful. Don't get puffed up. Don't become a pompous individual. Because those end up being the people who no longer can be corrected by the scriptures, being corrected by the words of the Most High, not the words of man. That's what happens when you're prideful. So let's make sure that that's not something that happens.
Or even unwilling to listen to godly discourse.
Absolutely.
I completely understand. You back up everything with the scriptures. But if I'm coming to you with godly discourse, you know, talking to you as a brother, and you're like, oh man, I don't want to hear that.
Right.
Dang, bro. Shoot.
Exactly. Especially if you're going to, you know, refuse reproof. And we already know what the scripture says about those who refuse reproof. You are being foolish. All right. In a sense, you even hate yourself, because a lot of times you may not see everything. That brother or that sister may see something in you that you're not noticing. And because you're so prideful, you won't even take the time to hear what they have to say because you don't want to hear it. So then now, brother, how can you get corrected? It can't be done.
Chastisement is really the only way at that point.
Exactly. And we're trying to avoid chastisement. We've been chastised enough, brothers and sisters. All right? We need to listen. We can't listen if we don't humble ourselves down. We can't listen if we don't be patient. We definitely can't be listening if we are in a prideful state of mind. Give me the book of Proverbs 16, verse 18. We're going to read the 23.
The book of Proverbs, chapter 16, verse 18.
Yes, sir.
Pride goeth before destruction, and an haughty spirit before a fall.
Right.
Better it is to be of an humble spirit with the lowly than to divide the spoil with the proud. He that handleth a matter wisely shall find good, and whoso trusteth in the Lord, happy is he.
No, brother, trust in yourself.
And whoso trusteth in the Lord, happy is he.
Trust in your pastor, man.
Trust in the Lord, happy is he.
Right.
The wise in heart shall be called prudent, and the sweetness of the lips increaseth learning.
Right.
Understanding is a wellspring of life unto him that hath it, but the instruction of fools is folly. The heart of the wise teacheth his mouth, and addeth learning to his lips.
What you think about that, man?
Bro, I think that goes perfectly with. Is this it right here? No, that's not. But I'm gonna say, I think that goes perfectly with today, when it says, "The instruction of fools is folly." If we out here listening to the ignorance when it comes to prudent matters,
right.
If we out here listening to people with a very narrow mindset on evil, you're in the midst of folly. You're in the midst of foolishness.
Absolutely.
And what is folly and foolishness? Right back to Proverbs 24 and 9. It's sin. It's sin. Exactly. To be foolish is to be sinful. You're going to die in that foolishness. What's the point?
There's no point. And I'm pretty sure that we all can identify that the common denominator amongst our people is a lot of us move with foolish tendencies. All right. And that foolish tendency always tends to lead us right into sin. Okay? Anytime that we are following after man and not following after God, we are moving foolishly. Anytime that we are relying more on what we think and how we feel, brother, all right, feeling all this love and things like that. No, those are all things, right, that lead to sin, because where does God mention any of that? In fact, when he does mention it, it's always in a derogatory way. So these are the things that we have to keep in mind. And we have to, like I said before, we have to truly hold ourselves accountable and not be so prideful that we can't allow others to do the same. Because if someone is saying something to you, brother or sister, it isn't to destroy you. It isn't to make you look bad. It isn't to insult your intelligence or even to insult your faith in this truth. No, we're bringing it to you because we love you and we care about you. Not to mention, it's a commandment that we even do that. See what I'm saying? We're not just supposed to warn the wicked. We have to warn the righteous too. Because if we don't say nothing to you, anything good that you have done, all right, it's completely wiped away. And if we don't say anything to you now, your blood is on our hands. So we don't want that to happen for you. But like I brought up earlier, a lot of times these bishops, these leaders and things of that nature, they think just because they have reached a certain stature that they cannot be touched anymore. Like there isn't anything that someone else from the outside looking in can bring to them or even try to correct them on. Because they feel, oh, I've been in the truth longer than you. How are you going to correct me? That is a prideful spirit. And I pray that no one ever allows that to be something that you maintain moving forward in this truth. You will not prosper. I guarantee it. All right?
I'm with you on that one, brother. Especially because it's always, just to add on just a little bit more, I'm sorry.
Sure.
But it's always funny that the ones speaking the most amount of foolishness are the most prideful ones.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yeah, brother, I'm going to show you how to get this lit. You ever heard of credit card scams? Bro, I got you, bro. You about to do 15 years over a piece of plastic. Listening to a fool trying to get a bag.
Right.
Trying to lead you to promiscuous women. Trying to do all types of manners of debauchery.
Or a fool trying to instruct you that you don't have to keep commandments.
Right. Man.
We don't have to keep commandments now, brother. Oh, commandments they're done away with, brother. Oh, yeah. The Most High, he loves the sinner.
Where's
right. I don't know. Like people just come up with these different things. Like seriously, you can truly identify when someone is just talking outside their neck. All right, because if you study in your scriptures the way you're supposed to, you will be able to tell when things are not adding up. All right, but that's also another reason why we have to study to show ourselves approved. That's part of righteous conduct. Okay, it's never good enough to just follow something or to just go off of someone's perceived credibility and utilizing that is something to go off of. No, God tells us not to do that. So let's move on. Give me Ecclesiasticus chapter 20, and we're going to start at 5 and go to 9.
The book of Ecclesiasticus, or Sirach, chapter 20, verse 5. There is one, I'm going to start over. Mm-hmm. There is one that keepeth silence and is found wise, and another by much babbling becometh hateful. Mm-hmm. Some man holdeth his tongue because he hath not to answer. Mm-hmm. And some keepeth silence, knowing his time. A wise man will hold his tongue till he see opportunity, but a babbler and a fool will regard no time. He that useth many words shall be abhorred. Mm-hmm. And he that taketh to himself authority therein shall be hated. There is a sinner that hath good success in evil things, and there is a gain that turneth to loss.
So what we should be gaining from this scripture, brothers and sisters, is going back into patience, right? And it's also knowing when to speak, knowing when There's a time to go out here and really speak your mind, and there's a time when you shouldn't. There should never be a time where you even speak on something that you don't fully understand. Okay? Be humble enough, be meek enough to realize that you don't know everything. And in that being the case, it's okay. But a fool will go ahead and just run his mouth, speaking on things that he doesn't understand, not utilizing scriptures, just speaking more of what he feels versus actual facts. Okay? That is something that you don't want to do when you're in this truth. Because one thing about it is that we're supposed to be a light. A lot of us, we came out of the world and we're coming into something different. We're trying to be renewed of the mind. We're supposed to be putting off that old man. And to be honest, the people who we used to deal with, they're looking at us more than they ever did before. Just trying to catch us slipping. Just trying to catch us speaking according to things that we don't fully understand, so they can try to cut it and make us look like we don't know what we're talking about. Try to make it seem like we're in a cult. Okay, that is why it's so imperative that we study and we only speak on things that we truly understand and we know. Never speaking more than that. Okay, and never allowing, like I said before, letting your feelings get involved, because you can't do that when it comes to God. Too many people now in this truth do that.
That's right. Bro, you mind if I bring out something?
Sure.
If you don't mind, I'm going to bring out the book of Sirach, or Ecclesiasticus, chapter 5, verse 11 through 13.
Go ahead.
It says, "Be swift to hear, and let thy life be sincere, and with patience give answer. Mm-hmm. If thou hast understanding, answer thy neighbor. If not, lay thy hand upon thy mouth. Honor and shame is in talk, and the tongue of man is his fall." I mean, just to plainly put it, sometimes it's easier to shut up unless you really know what you're talking about, unless you are not ignorant in this matter greatly or smallly. You might want to just be quiet, especially when it comes to, I mean, don't get me wrong, just especially when it comes to this truth. I don't know everything. So granted, I'll be having to be like, hey, bro, straight up, if I give you the answer, I might lead you astray. I'm gonna have to sit back on this one, and if I hear from one of my big bros, and I'll gladly give you the answer. But until then, I'm gonna have to be quiet, straight up, because I'm gonna bring shame upon me, and shame upon you, and condemnation if you go off on a different tangent, a different understanding, because I done brought shame to you through my words, through my speech.
And the Most High is going to hold you responsible for that.
Right.
So it's kind of like it's like a system of checks and balances. You always want to make sure that you are in the right. Okay? Never take that 50-50 chance or risk, okay, of the possibility of being right and possibly of being wrong. Because if you end up being wrong, well, now that's a whole lot of judgment. That's a whole lot of questions, a whole lot of things that now is going to end up coming your way. So it's okay to just cover your mouth, be quiet. It's okay to say, you know what, brother and sister, I don't fully understand that. I don't want to tell you something that's incorrect, but I can look it up. Give me some time. I'll find the answer. That is being humble. And if more people had that trait, things would be a lot better for us. All right?
I agree.
Let's go to Ecclesiasticus chapter 3, starting at 19.
The book of Ecclesiasticus, chapter 3, verse 19. "Many are in high place and of renown, but mysteries are revealed unto the meek."
We're just talking about being meek, right? Okay.
"For the power of the Lord is great, and he is honored of the lowly. Seek not out the things that are too hard for thee, neither search the things that are above thy strength. But what is commanded thee, think thereupon with reverence. Mm-hmm. For it is not needful for thee to see with thine eyes the things that are in secret. Be not curious in unnecessary matters, for more things are showed unto thee than men understand. For many are deceived by their own vain opinions, and an evil suspicion hath overthrown their judgment.
Just to tap in real quick, this, brothers and sisters, is speaking about, I don't know if you've noticed, but it just seems that in Israel as of late, especially like on social media, we are seeing more and more of our people getting into heated debates over matters that really don't concern you. All right. There are certain things that we're not going to understand right away. Yes, we may study, we may look at the scriptures and try to find it out, but there are really just things that are reserved for the Most High. And it will have to be something that he will have to reveal onto us. It shouldn't get to the point now where we're trying to figure out this and that, but in the midst of trying to figure it out, we're not even building. We're literally tearing each other down. The minute somebody says something that don't make no sense, oh, well, brother, that doesn't make sense. All right, if that's what you think, we'll prove your case. Let's go live. Let's try to go through this together. And now you're not, it doesn't, like I said before, it's not building now. It's just tearing down. And we're creating more and more division within our community. We have enough division. We should not be looking down on each other. We should not be showing hatred towards one another. All right. Nor should we be trying to insinuate that a person is, not intelligent within this truth. All right. Everybody has their own learning. Certain things may be revealed to you and certain things may not. But just because you have it does not mean that you should go ahead and try to tear somebody else down because they don't have it at that point in time. All right. There are things that we just have to focus on, which the Most High gives us. And really, that is keeping these commandments. That's our whole duty. Okay? Nothing else. Read.
Just to say, if it's not directly law related, why are you fighting over it?
Exactly.
I mean, we know we follow these laws. We follow our King, Christ. You're going to get what you deserve.
Right.
So if it's not directly related to the law, why are we striving over it? 25. Without eyes, thou shalt want light. Profess not the knowledge, therefore, that thou hast not. A stubborn heart shall 26. A stubborn heart shall fare evil at the last, and he that loveth danger shall perish therein. And an obstinate heart shall be laden with sorrows, and the wicked man shall heap sin upon sin.
Keep going. Oh, yeah, matter of fact, no, that's it. What you think of that, bro? Let's have the unit.
Be not hasty to add sin upon sin. You know, every day you should be praying, right? So while you're praying, you need to be repenting, asking the Lord for mercy, asking the Lord for grace, asking him for understanding, asking him for wisdom. I'm just saying, it just said a stubborn heart. I mean, I bring up Wisdom of Solomon 9 and 18 all the time. Reform is required. The changing of the mind is required, because with the changing of the mind and the adding upon of that wisdom, you will be saved through wisdom. You will be saved through this instruction. So if you having a stubborn heart, if you like, oh, nah, man, nah, bro, they ain't right, bro. I had somebody try this on me once. They was like, it's not what goes into the man that defiles him. So I can eat all the pork I want. And I'm like, bro, you're not having a just balance, though. That's the problem with us in Israel a lot of times. We don't have a just balance. We go so far off on these tangents that you forget that there's a whole nother side to it. Granted, we already know Mark 7 says that what enters into the man is not what defiles him, but what comes out of him, out of his mind, out of his thoughts.
Right.
But Leviticus 11 and 7 tells you, eat that pork if you want to.
Exactly.
You're going to be an abomination. you're going to be unclean. You got to have a just balance.
Right. You can't ignore what the Most High literally is saying because you don't think that's what it means, or you don't think that it's that important. We don't have to keep feast days no more, brother. We don't got to wear fringes no more, brother. Like, what?
Right.
Do you not understand that anytime that you are trying to lead others away from the law of the Most High God, you are in sin. You are in danger, sir, ma'am. All right? Anything that you say that goes directly against what God is putting out, and you're comfortable doing so, and you're stubborn in it, you can't be reproved, you are in danger. Do not allow yourself to get to that point. Do not allow your own logical reasoning to trump that of the Most High God. We can't even come close to the way that the Most High God rationalizes things. All right? Everything he does is very meticulous. Everything that he does is with order, perfection. So who are we to think that with our simple mind that some kind of way we can outthink God? Or we can try to say that his scripture or his words mean something that it really doesn't.
I'm 100% with you.
Don't make sense, does it? Proverbs 3 and 5.
The book of Proverbs, chapter 3, verse 5. Trust in the Lord with all thine heart.
Right.
And lean not unto thine own understanding.
Right.
In all thy ways acknowledge him, and he shall direct thy paths.
That is the only person who should be directing your path. Not you, not your mama, not your pastor, not your elder, not nobody else. The Most High has to direct your path, because if you give him the ability to do so, you cannot err. All right? There's no way that you'll ever be in the midst of sin if the Most High is directing you. That is your sole companion. That is your sole source. That is what you need to focus on. Stay fixated on it, because anything else is just going to lead you to damnation. Am I right or am I wrong?
I'm with you, bro. 100%.
All right. Let's go to Proverbs 17. Start at 27.
The book of Proverbs, chapter 17, verse 27. He that have knowledge spareth his words, and a man of understanding is of an excellent spirit.
Right.
Even a fool, when he holdeth his peace, is counted wise.
Right.
And he that shutteth his lips is esteemed a man of understanding.
That's good stuff right there, brothers and sisters. It's like we brought out earlier. Know when to speak and know when not to speak. A lot of us have that issue. You know, even when it comes to the affairs of one another, which we're also going to touch on, all right? Don't be speaking on things that you don't really have the full details on. That's no different than what the Most High God tells us when it comes to judgments, right? You cannot judge any situation unless you've examined both matters. You have to have the understanding in order to make an educated, an educated move on something, an educated judgment, all right? Everything just has to be done in the right spirit. Otherwise, you will be counted as a fool, okay? Let's go to 1 Thessalonians, chapter 4, start at 11. We almost finished, brothers and sisters. I pray that this has been edifying so far. We are righteous people, and we have to ensure that we always act like we are. For too long, we've been lost. For too long, we've jested too much. For too long, have we done things with foolish intent, and we've not benefited from any of it. We've had more loss than anything else. Go ahead, bro.
The book of 1 Thessalonians, chapter 4, verse 11. And that ye study to be quiet and to do your own business,
Right.
and to work with your own hands, as we commanded you, that ye may walk honestly towards them that are without, and that ye may have lack of nothing. But I would not have you to be ignorant, brethren, concerning them which are asleep, that ye sorrow not, even as others which have no hope. For if we believe that Jesus died and rose again, even so them also which sleep in Jesus will God bring with him. For this we say unto you by the word of the Lord, that we which are alive and remain unto the coming of the Lord shall not prevent them which are asleep.
What you think, man? Break that down for us real quick.
I got you, bro. At least in the first half, when it's saying study to be quiet and to do your own business and to work with your own hands as we commanded you. Me and you was literally just talking about this earlier today.
You were spiritual, ain't it?
It is spiritual. We can't want this truth for anybody more than they want it for themselves. You supposed to be studying to show yourself approved. You supposed to be knowing the terror of the Lord, and that the terror of the Lord is coming. You're supposed to be diligent, having the spirit of discipline, the spirit of wisdom, the spirit to get after it. And then in doing so with all of that, be honest. There's no reason to lie. If you don't have an understanding on something, just say you don't have an understanding and gain that understanding.
Don't make it up as you go.
Don't make it up as you go. You don't got a lot to kick it.
Right.
Be honest. Look and seek. There's I forget the verse, but it says there's safety in the multitude of counselors. But with the just balance of that, have one counselor of 1,000. And then going into 13 through 15, if we truly have hope, if we truly believe, which I know I do, I don't know about you guys, but I truly have hope that I'm going to be like the people in the Red Sea. I'm going to get to walk through fire. I'm going to see the other side and get to serve my Father in heaven. That's truly what I'm hoping for. And those that are asleep, Lord's will, we'll see them again, right?
Yeah. Lord's will.
What do you think about my breakdown?
I think it was excellent.
Top
tier. Exquisite. All right. Everything that my brother said is absolutely correct. All right. Main thing about having righteous conduct is, like I said before, okay? You just have to be accountable. And the only way you can truly be accountable is if you really are following these scriptures and you're seeking after what the Most High God had intended for us as his people. He literally gives us the blueprint. We have to follow it. Follow this, trust in this, more than you follow and trust in anything else. Nothing else has worked for us so far. So let's stop trying to do something that we know isn't going to work and actually try something that we know is guaranteed to work. Because that's going to help us, not hurt us. Let's go to Philippians 2, 14 and 16. And then we're going to close out with go to Ecclesiastes 12 and 13.
My bad, bro.
No, you good,
bro. There we go. 2. The book of Philippians, chapter 2, verse 14. Do all things without murmurings and disputings, that ye may be blameless and harmless, the Son of God without rebuke, the sons of God without rebuke, in the midst of a crooked and perverse nation, among whom ye shine as lights in the world,
Keep going.
Verse 16, my bad. Holding forth the word of life, that I may rejoice in the day of Christ, that I have not run in vain, neither labored in vain.
Any thoughts or opinions?
Bro, I love verse 16, bro.
What you like about it?
Man, you know, Ja Rule made a song about this. I ain't gonna repeat the lyrics, but he said, "I ain't doing this for nothing.
Right.
This is not for no reason. We are not on this camera. We don't go out to camp. We don't rebuke and have contention with our family members because of, oh, well, it's just something to do."
Right.
We are genuinely striving for the goal of getting the kingdom, of having a perfect heart and getting the opportunity to serve the Most High God and His Son.
Absolutely.
I mean, that's what I want. Because you already know with serving Him, what you just, your last scripture that you just brought up, you'll be wanting nothing.
Nothing. But we got to touch on the beginning part of that where it said, do what now? We not supposed to be doing no murmuring, no babblings. Read that part again.
Verse 14.
Read.
Do all things without murmurings and disputings.
That is something that we love to do every single day. It's always a murmur. There's always a dispute. All right. We have to understand something. Okay, and I feel like this is something that people tend to forget, you know, even when they've been in the truth for a long time. We are not all on one accord just yet. Okay, we're partially there, but we're not fully there. Okay, so if you're running into a brother or a sister who they're keeping the commandments, they're wearing fringes, they're wearing feast days, they celebrating the feast days, they're doing everything else that they're supposed to do according to the scriptures. But if it's slightly different from you, that leaves no room for you to just go over there and just try to bash that person and dispute with them and argue with them. And as I said before, try to tear them down and then murmur and try to, you know, run somebody's name through the dirt. No, that's wicked. Okay? We are not on one understanding just yet. We have to understand that and move accordingly. All right? I forget the scripture where it's even Christ says, you know, if they're not against us, then they're for us, right? So how can you sit there and look down on another person who is still professing to be a follower of the Most High God and understanding that they have to keep these commandments in order to make it to heaven? In some kind of way, you still want to tear them down because what they're doing is different from what you're doing and what you've been taught. How does that make sense, bro?
Yeah, bro. It sounds like, just like verse 15 explains it, bro. That ye may be blameless and harmless, the sons of God without rebuke. In the midst, you are in the midst of a crooked and perverse nation.
Exactly.
You supposed to shine like the light. You supposed to have the patience. You supposed to know what you talking about. And if you don't know what you're talking about, seek that knowledge. Seek that understanding.
Right. And that's it. Just because someone says one thing doesn't mean, okay, you have to go ahead and necessarily subscribe to it. You can respect their opinion and just look at everything else they're doing versus the one thing that you guys are different on. If we would just do that, that would create a lot more peace within our people. And I know I said I was going to hit Ecclesiastes 12 and 13, but we have to hit Ecclesiastes 19. Start at 6. Yeah. I'm just going to read the 20. Everything's going to be self-explanatory, brothers, but I have to bring this out. Go ahead.
I got you. The book of Ecclesiasticus, or Sirach, chapter 19, verse 6. He that can rule his tongue shall live without strife, and he that hateth babbling shall have less evil. Rehearse not unto another that which is told unto thee, and thou shalt fare never the worse.
You shouldn't be going ahead and telling your brother's business or your sister's business to each and every person who you can come into contact with who's willing to have an ear. You shouldn't even be that brother or sister who's willing to hear something about another person if that person hasn't come directly to you to tell you about it, especially if it's something that is defaming that person's character. If it's any type of slander, you should not be okay with hearing and even participating in that conversation. Right? That's wicked. That's showing hatred. Continue.
Verse 8. Whether it be to friend or foe, talk not of other men's lives. And if thou canst without offense, reveal them not.
Right.
For he heard and observed thee, and when time cometh, he will hate thee.
Right. Because let's think about it for a second. Leroy, if you tell me something that you have been battling with, a personal, just to say it's a personal lust or whatever else like that, and if I go ahead and I'll broadcast that to everybody, are you ever going to trust me again?
I will not be bearing my burdens to you anymore.
You feel me? If anything, like the scripture says, that person will hate you for that. Because now they see that you are not a person who someone can confide in. You're not trustworthy.
Not trustworthy.
You're moving like a snake. There's a lot of snaky activity in Israel. All right? I've been a victim of it. My brother's been a victim of it. You've probably been a victim of it if you're listening right now. And that has done nothing but just create further distrust amongst our people. We're supposed to be trying to unite. There shouldn't be little things like that we were doing in the world that's still being transferred over and being applied here within the truth, especially when we know better. Continue.
Verse 10. If thou hast heard a word, let it die with thee, and be bold. It will not burst thee.
Right.
A fool travaileth with a word, as a woman in labor of a child. As an arrow that sticketh in a man's thigh, so is a word within a fool's belly. Admonish a friend. Going over this. Admonish a friend. It may be he hath not done it, and if he have done it, that he do it no more. Admonish thy friend. It may be he have not said it, and if he have, that he speak it not again.
Right.
Admonish a friend. For many times it is a slander, and believe not every tale.
Believe not every tale. Oh my gosh. How different would things be if that was the case, bro?
If we actually took things into consideration.
How different would it be? How many relationships would still be lasting right now if we as a people follow this?
Yeah.
Keep going.
Admonish means to warn. Right. Make sure.
I'm glad you brought that up. Good, yeah.
Verse 16. There is one that slippeth in his speech, but not from his heart. And who is that who is he? And who is he that have not offended with his tongue?
A lot of us have offended others with our tongue. There's a reason why I wanted to really just dive into this, because the one thing that our people do consistently is we run our mouth and we do more destruction than we do towards bringing life to another person. You know, right? We can't continue to keep speaking so irresponsibly into speaking in such a defaming way towards one another. There's just certain things that you got to be quiet on. If someone told you something, let that stay between you and them.
Let it die.
Warn that person, try to help them best that you can. But it's never a time where it should be okay for you to go ahead and really tell that other person's business. Because for what?
Exactly, bro. It said, admonish thy friend. So warn your friend, bear your burdens, talk to each other. It didn't say, go tell the whole congregation what they got going on.
Right. If that person wanted his business out there in the street, he would personally tell everybody, hey, this is what I got going on. All right. And the thing is, when you go ahead and you do that, if you say even one thing that's not remotely close or is kind of a little off from what was originally said to you, by the time it gets to another person, and another person, and another person, right? The whole narrative has changed. So now you may have people thinking something about a person that actually they may not have even done.
Right.
They may not have even said. Because you haven't consulted the source. You're going off of what someone else told you, and it just creates this vicious and stupid cycle of what do they call it? Just telephone, right?
Telephone, yeah. It started off with like just for example, man, I'm dealing with lust, bro. It's hard, man. Now went and told everybody Now I done committed adultery. Now we out the truth.
I done had a
Yeah, all types of dang.
Like what?
Dang.
Come on, man.
And you know what the thing is? I notice in Israel, a lot of us don't ever approach that person directly.
Never.
It's always hearsay.
Everybody loves quoting Matthew 18, but never apply it. Not one time. I've been in this truth, going on 8, maybe 9 years now. I've yet to see it. People will talk crazy behind your back, and some will even wait till you die to finally have something to say about what you were doing and how they were in disagreement with it. That's coward behavior.
Cowards.
And it's hatred. And you will suffer for that if you continue to keep doing so. The Most High is not playing with us. There's many forms of hatred towards thy brother and thy sister. Maybe that'll be the next topic, because that's a really loaded topic. There's a lot of ways to show hatred for somebody. Okay, but let's continue.
Verse 17: admonish thy neighbor before thou threaten him, and not being angry, give place to the law of the Most High.
Right. Sometimes you really do just gotta, hey, listen, bro. You need to chill. Don't do that again. You know what I'm saying? Like, don't take it into, you just immediately you're angry and now you just want to bring vengeance upon this person. Sometimes you do, like I said, going back to having patience, right? Warn that brother and let the Most High handle it, because he's gonna handle it one way or another. Give the Most High time. A lot of us don't do that. Read.
Verse 18. The fear of the Lord is the first step. I'm gonna read that again because that was powerful.
It's beautiful.
That's beautiful. 18. The fear of the Lord is the first step to be accepted of him, and wisdom obtaineth his light, is love. Wow. 19. The knowledge of the commandments of the Lord is the doctrine of life, and they that do things that please him shall receive the fruit of the tree of immortality.
Not what pleases myself, Leroy. What pleases who?
Pleases him, the Lord.
I hope y'all are seeing something.
The tree of it. And think about what it's saying, guys. You're not meant to die. Death is an option at this point while you're alive. We are trying to get the tree of immortality. I mean, I don't know how many, I don't know if y'all ever see what's the road to El Dorado. Remember that? Or something like that. They was looking for immortality, wasn't it? Or was they looking for gold?
They were looking for gold.
Sorry.
It's okay.
That was 30 years ago now. My bad, but sorry.
Esau be looking for immortality.
Yeah, they always make movies about looking for immortality in this. But verse 20, it says, the fear of the Lord is all wisdom, and in all wisdom is the performance of the law.
What does that mean, Leroy? Roy, my apologies.
You gotta do it. You have to do it. Performance.
Keep these commandments. That's right. Your performance.
And the knowledge of his omnipotency.
Make sure y'all read this again. Because these scriptures in particular, this right here, this is the sauce, man. This is the recipe. This right here teaches you exactly how you're supposed to deal with your brother and your sister. And it really targets the issues that we have, because not many people do this. I'm not even gonna say not many. Slim to none, all right, actually adhere to what these scriptures are saying right here. And you have to apply them. You have to meditate on them. And you have to really practice what you preach. The Most High didn't leave this here for no reason. As I said earlier in the class, everything was set here with purpose. And it will be beneficial to us if we allow it. It's not enough for us to just tell you and to show you and believe it and want it for you. You have to believe and want it for yourself. At the end of the day, we are just a messenger. We are just watchmen. We're warning you. We can't do the work for you now.
That's right.
Let's close it out. Ecclesiastes 12-13, and let's go to Matthew 26.
The book of Ecclesiastes, chapter 12, verse 13. Let us hear the conclusion of the whole matter. Fear God and keep his commandments, for this is the whole duty of man. For God shall bring every work into judgment with every secret thing, whether it be good or whether it be evil.
That is our only duty, brothers and sisters. That is what my brother and I are going to continue to push, to believe in, to carry out. That's what other brothers in their respective congregations, that's what they're doing. That's what we all out here to teach. Okay? Keep these laws, statutes, and commandments. You can't go wrong if you're doing that. If we can keep Esau's law, we can keep the Most High God's law. All right? He's the one who is going to determine what happens to your soul. Esau can only determine what happens to your flesh. And this is temporary anyway. This is just a vessel. We need to worry about what happens after this dies, because it's going to die regardless. Fear God, not man. Matthew 26.
The book of Matthew, chapter 26, verse 6. Now when Jesus was in Bethany, in the house of Simon the leper, there came unto him a woman having an alabaster box of very precious ointment, and poured it on his head as he sat at meat. But when his disciples saw it, they had indignation, saying, to what purpose is this waste? For this ointment might have been sold for much and given to the poor. When Jesus understood it, he said unto them, why trouble ye the woman? For she hath wrought a good work upon me. For ye have the poor with you. For ye have the poor always with you, but me ye have not always. For in that she hath poured this ointment on my body, she did it for my burial. Verily, I say unto you, wheresoever this gospel shall be preached in the whole world, there shall also this, that this woman have done, be told for a memorial of her.
And that's just the bottom line, brothers and sisters. Once again, we'd like to thank you for tapping in with us today for another Sunday Heat topic, Righteous Conduct Part 2. I'm Brother Chiskaya, and to my left,
Brother Laharoy.
And with that, we say,